Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends Spider-Man wave. Flash Thompson, Agent Venom. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we continue looking at the brand new Marvel Legends Spider-Man wave, and in front of us today we have Flash Thompson, aka Agent Venom, on the very nice modern style packaging, as the character himself debuted in 2011, and it was only a few years later we got our very first Marvel Legends Agent Venom as the first Walgreens exclusive. So it has been a good while since we have gotten this character in the Marvel Legends line, and I have no doubts that this is going to be a worthy upgrade. I really like the addition of the Flash Thompson head sculpt. So of course we'll do some comparisons in this video, but there we have a modern character on the modern card. It makes sense. On the back you do get a write-up and all the characters in this wave. I'm currently reviewing them on the channel, so hit that subscribe button. But the write-up says, when Flash Thompson bonds with an alien parasite suit, he's granted spider-like powers as Agent Venom. I've always liked this character design and the concept of like a militarized Venom, so let's get him open. So here we have our Flash Thompson out of the packaging with all of those accessories laid out on the table. I like that he comes with 3 full sets of hands: trigger fingers, fisted hands, and then more clawed grabby hands. We also get the exact same guns that came with Chameleon, just this time in a darker black. But let me move them out of the way, and of course I'll do some head comparisons and whatnot in a moment, but let me just put the actual Agent Venom head on this figure so we can see what it's supposed to look like. And yeah, I really like this concept. As I said, a more sort of controlled, militarized version of the Venom symbiote that is under the command of Flash Thompson. Considering he lost his legs in war, the government gave the symbiote to Flash to sort of operate on their behalf. And yeah, he looks really nice. So let me get the tape measure out. It is just under 6.5 inches tall, and as I mentioned, we have already got Agent Venom from 2014, and it was on a very outdated body, but for some reason I always liked the Marvel Legends. Like, it's just big and bulky, and I liked the extra sort of tentacles you got on the back of this guy. Now straight away I did check, does this guy have a peg in the back or a hole in the back? And he does not, so you will not be able to use those extra tentacles on the previous Flash Thompson version of Agent Venom with the new one. But you can see already proportionately the new one is a little bit more leaner. It just looks a little bit more cleaner as well. The white paint is definitely a lot nicer and clearer than the sloppiness over here. Bulkier, bigger sort of accessories and whatnot, but the articulation on this guy was terrible, so I have no doubts this guy is going to be better. But there is your straight up Agent Venom comparison. But yeah, as I said, these tentacles unfortunately are not going to plug in because there's nowhere to plug them in, but that's what he would have looked like with them behind him. If you really wanted to Dremel a hole in the back, I suppose you could, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, let's zoom in and check out that head sculpt. So like we just seen, this new head sculpt is of course different to the previous one. The white lines are definitely a lot thicker, and it's just a different sculpt in general, but otherwise it is just a simple black head sculpt with the white outline around the eyes. Nice and simple. Now I do think the head is on a dumbbell joint, so you can get him looking up, burying the chin, bit of tilt, and you'll swivel, no problem at all. But more interestingly with this figure, he actually comes with an interchangeable Flash Thompson head sculpt. So let's have a look at that. And I think this is a solid unmasked head sculpt. I always appreciate that option. Now, like every character in comics, they change their hairstyles. I can't quite pinpoint what timeline of Flash Thompson this was, but I like the sweeping hair. And again, digital face printing tech, really nicely done. The internet did make me laugh though, because they were calling this guy Jamie Lannister or even Two-Face from the Nolan trilogy in Batman. And I definitely see what they're on about there. But there is the head sculpt all the same. Looking really good. The hair does have a nice wash to it as well to bring out that sculpt all the way around. So I'm assuming this is early Flash Thompson from the Agent Venom storyline. But remember, Flash debuted in the very first Spider-Man comics. He's been around for a while, but you have your options. You have your masked head, or your helmeted head, however you prefer to say it. I guess symbiote head, you know what I mean. Or your own Flash Thompson head. Let me know your favourite in the comments below. This symbiote is back on. Let's take a closer look at this Agent Venom body. So this is all new, no reuse from the previous one. It is completely pinless, double jointed, pinless elbows and knees. We love to see it in the modern day, and the paint work looks really clean and crisp on this. When it's white paint, usually if there's any sloppiness, it would be really noticeable against the black, but I can't see any sloppiness here at all. All of these lines are nice and crisp and clean. I'm happy to see it, and the spider legs all really straight. Honestly, it's like a sculpted spider design on top of the base body, so it works out really well. So there's, you've got your white spider on the front and the back, and remember I mentioned no hole in the back, so you can't use that extra symbiote piece from the previous one. You also get the lines that continue around the shoulder pads, and then they go down the legs as well, up and around, and then all black down to the boots. You get a little bit of silver for the chrome of the belt, and the belt is a separate plastic piece on top of the body, but there is no waist swivel there. All the articulation is up at this diaphragm ball joint, so that is where you're going to get your swivel up top. It's also where you're going to get your tilt, and you're going to get a little bit forward and a little bit back. So not a lot, to be honest. So tiny bit back, not very good at all, but more forward than back. But I do think people are going to be frustrated with the range of articulation there. But there is articulation there to definitely help with posing for sure, and the white does continue up the torso as well. So yeah, there's your articulation there. These shoulder pads are a separate piece. You can see that they come up and they are attached in the shoulder joint, so they should swivel around with the arms, and yes, they do, so that doesn't hinder that at all. And because they're loose, you should still be able to get the arms up to 90, and they move up and out of the way, so I love to see that. You've got the nice sculpted, spiked and textured lines on the shoulder pads as well. I like that. And again, you've got nice sculptured texture with the lines on the arm, upper arm, and then again more spikes for the gauntlet over the forearm, and then a little bit of white on the hands, which is your trademark for Venom, of course. So yeah, there's the double joint as well. Look at that, that's actually a great range. Double jointed, pinless arms. You've still got the bicep swivel, and yeah, I think that's decent range for the arms. Can't be mad at that. As I said, no waist swivel because all the swivel's up there. Moving down to the legs, you do have your thigh cut hidden nicely with these two holsters as well. So you get one holster that actually is working. You can put the gun in. Let's try that. We'll get the gun back out in a moment. But yes, the gun can be holstered, which was unlike the previous one that just had a molded gun. So yeah, these two holster lines do hide the swivel at the top of the thigh very nicely, but it will break up that white line. And again, there is some more sculpted work going down the leg as well. Moving down to the knees, double jointed, pinless knees. Again, we love to see it. Let me zoom out a little bit. Can he go all the way? Yes, he can. Look at that. Great range with the double jointed pinless knees. Can't be mad at that. That is full range there. Then you do have ankle pivot and rocker. A little bit hindered though by the sort of protectors over his ankles. So it's definitely there, but again, little bit hindered with the range due to the character design. Again, spikes on the boots, if you will. And is there a boot swivel? No boot swivel. It is all sculpted, all one shin up to the knee, unfortunately. So that will be frustrating for posers, I'm sure. But they have, they didn't want to sacrifice the aesthetic there for that swivel, but I still always think you can find room for a boot swivel, so that will be disappointing. But otherwise, still think he has a decent range and aesthetically looks very nice. It's such a simple character design, but I've always liked it. And again, it is spiky to touch. All of these spikes are sculpted on there, from the boots up to the arms, up to the shoulders. Yeah, he's bulky, he's lean, he's ready to go. Now, Flash Thompson is a military man, so of course we got some weaponry for our Agent Venom. Both of these weapons are the same ones that came with Chameleon. We've got this longer rifle here, nicely sculpted, just done in all the black, and then we've got that shorter pistol that I holstered earlier. Again, the exact same ones that came with Chameleon. I do think it's frustrating when characters that are known for holding weapons don't have butterfly joints. It definitely makes posing a little more limited, but you can still sort of get it to work. I like how both of the hands have the up and down hinge challenging, well, the trigger fingers do at least, so you can definitely get him into some decent poses holding the weapons for display without a doubt. But he also comes with a set of grabby hands, more symbiote styled claw hands, and a set of fisted hands to get himself into some fights. Moving into comparisons, here we have our 10-year difference for our Marvel Legends Agent Venom, and obviously the new one is an improvement, at least for me. It is completely pinless, it moves a lot better, just aesthetically, proportionately, there's more options for display. Honestly, it is the better of the two options. I would have liked, obviously, the option to plug in the tentacle piece, but I'm not mad at it either. And I always find a way to keep the old one in the display, so I wanted to know if the Flash Thompson head works on the old body. And yes, it can pop on there if you wanted to find a way to display this. But remember, the old one never had any interchangeable hands. The arms and gauntlets are all one piece, so yeah, you can't swap out the hands, unfortunately. So that's what you'll be stuck with, and it just doesn't quite sit right proportionally with me compared to the new one. But again, I'm always trying to find a way to put them both in the collection at least. But there's your Agent Venoms in Marvel Legend form. And here's another comparison I really wanted to see. We have Mania that we recently got in the Marvel Legends line now paired up with Agent Venom, as these two definitely have intertwining stories with that whole House Spawn sort of demon saga. But yes, these two look really nice together. I think proportionately, scale-wise, these look great. And then after that original run of Agent Venom, Venom went back up into space with Flash Thompson, joined the Guardians of the Galaxy, and became Space Venom for a little while. So yes, these are both technically Flash Thompson. Shall we try the head again? It doesn't work, don't waste your time. And it's still Venom, right? So here we have the Monster Venom and the Symbiote 3-pack version of Venom. And don't quote me which is which, but here we have a few different Venom symbiote costumes from the shelf. Now, I know technically this is an animated style Flash Thompson, but there's no reason why you couldn't use this as a Flash Thompson head in your comic displays if you preferred. Maybe the animated series would have got here in season 30, who knows? But this absolutely works for an Agent Venom Flash Thompson unmasked head. This came with the Vulture VHS 2-pack. And here we have some of my favourite Marvel Legends in black with Black Widow and the Punisher. I always thought that Agent Venom was sort of like a Punisher Venom crossover. Not technically, but you know what I mean. Here we have Flash Thompson next to his idol, Spider-Man, of course. We've got the Renew Your Vows version and the 60th anniversary. And then here we have the 20th anniversary Captain America and Iron Man. And then, as always, let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. So here we have Frogman, Tigra, and Hydra Bob. Where were you yesterday during my Chameleon review? I knew it! Wait a minute, does that mean you've been Chameleon this whole time? Is that Chameleon in the Who crew confirmed? Or did he switch out at some point? Has it always been Chameleon? Where's the real Hydra Bob? So many questions, but last but not least, here we have the festive Captain Britain and Hal, Fire, Hank. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Spider-Man wave, Agent Venom, Flash Thompson. Honestly, this is obviously a big upgrade compared to the previous version. As I keep saying, aesthetically, proportionately, articulation-wise, options for display. It is just your better version of Agent Venom for the shelf, and I for one am very grateful for it. Yes, could we had a little bit more articulation, maybe butterfly joints, boot swivel? Yes, of course we could, but still, looking at it on a display, he is going to absolutely do the job. I would have also liked those tentacles out of the back, because I did enjoy that trait of the old one. But anyway, they are minor gripes in the grand scheme of things. It is a solid Marvel Legend, a nice upgrade for our collection, and I'm sure many of you out there are going to appreciate getting this one. So you let me know your thoughts in the comments below as always. But if you like Marvel Legends, you are absolutely in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlist, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit all on the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on Twitter or X at Dan Who Reviews. What is going on with Hydra Bob and Chameleon? Have I been duped this whole time? Find out on the next one.